According to reputable polling, here are a few things that Americans believe. 40% believe in creationism. 90% believe in a higher power. 41% believe in psychics and 29% in astrology. 44% of Americans believe that government aid to the poor does more harm than good. 58% of Americans believe in hell, 72% in heaven. We're optimists. Universalism is winning. 82% believe that we are contributing to climate change. 84% of Americans believe in mandatory vaccinations, but that's down from 94% 20 years ago. And finally, 7% of American adults believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. It does not. Now, why am I listing off statistics to you? It's because we as human beings are a believing species. We love believing in things. Some of our beliefs are religious, some of them are political, some of them are made up, some of them we just come to on our own. But we are a believing species. Beliefs let us belong. We find people who believe the same or similar to us, and we call it community. Beliefs make us feel safe. We order the world and feel comfort in our understanding. Beliefs tell us who we are. They let us fit in, and they tell us what we're supposed to be doing with our lives. We are a believing species. Religion, of course, is full of beliefs. So today I want to talk about the beliefs that we teach here at Fourth Universalist, to our kids, but also for all of us. And this is a question I get all the time. Parents here are wise to notice that a Unitarian Universalist congregation, beliefs are more complicated than in other communities. In a Christian church, they teach Christian beliefs. They teach about Jesus, about God, the New Testament. In a Jewish synagogue, they teach Judaism, the Torah, the prophets, the Hebrew language. But Unitarian Universalism, this congregation, we don't have a creed. We are pluralistic. We don't have one single holy book. We welcome those who believe many different things. That is by design. We believe in diversity. We believe in welcoming everybody. But that makes it complicated. We try to be the place where an interfaith family, one parent who is Christian, the other parent who is Jewish, can come and feel at home here together. We try to be the place where a family can come where one parent comes to church and brings their child, and the other parent is skeptical, maybe suspicious even, of religion, but still trusts that this community is safe for their child and not indoctrinating them. We try to be the place and hold space for the single parent who might not be sure what they believe, but wants their child to have a community where they can come and grow and learn. We try to be that for all those people and many more. But what do our kids learn? What do we try to teach them? The first thing to think about when we talk about religious education is that religion is a lot, in this regard, like sex. Kids will learn it from somewhere. They will end up talking to it about their friends, learning it on TV or on social media. They're going to encounter it one way or another. We as adults can't stop them from encountering religion. They will end up believing something. The statistics make that clear. Whether they grow up to be religious, or spiritual, or some combination of nothing at all. Religious education in Unitarian Universalism is an investment in making sure a child learns about religion in a structured, loving, safe, and thoughtful environment, rather than who knows where. Part of this is simple religious literacy, teaching our kids and ourselves as adults about what religion is and should be at its very best. I want every kid who graduates from our program to know about the world religions. I want them to be able to speak about the nuances of theological ideas. I want them to understand the role of religion in our country and our politics, because there is so much ignorance out there in this world. We see it when communities try to ban Muslims from building mosques because they think that's where the terrorists come from. We see it in the rise of anti-Semitism here in New York. And when here a few years ago, someone carved swastikas on the front doors of this building. We see it in the assumption that all Christians are Christian fundamentalists, ignoring the long traditions of Christians, many of whom are in this congregation, who believe in love and justice and reason. Unitarian Universalists believe in teaching the truth about religion, so that ignorance and bigotry and closed-mindedness are not passed down to the next generation. Our kids will learn something about religion. Here we make sure it is accurate and it is fair. And of course, Unitarian Universalism isn't just about religious literacy. We're not just a religious studies program, giving facts about this is Buddhism, this is Hinduism. We also have a stake in this religion game. It's not just about knowing about religion. Our kids will develop their own religious beliefs as well, whether that's about a higher power, or whether they practice yoga, believe in astrology, whether they go to church or just consider themselves spiritual or not religious, or are just atheists. Our kids will believe something. And we come here to make sure that our kids have beliefs that are good and thoughtful and compassionate. That's our job as responsible adults. We can think back to our own childhoods, when we were wrestling with what we believed as newly formed beings. What kind of religious education did we receive? What were we taught or encouraged to believe? I think back to my own time in high school when my family was attending a Presbyterian church. I liked that church a lot, Emmanuel Presbyterian. They were progressive, not closed-minded. Most importantly, they were kind to me as a young person who needed kindness. They always made sure I felt important to them. I took part in the youth group. I had friends there. We went on service trips. Everything was great with them until it was time for confirmation, the program where you make the decision to join the church and affirm its beliefs. I liked that church a lot. I liked the pastors. I liked the people. The problem was, I didn't believe in it. I knew that the culmination of confirmation was to stand up in front of the congregation and put your hand up. I can't remember if it was up in the air or on the Bible, and recite one of those creeds. It was either the Nicene or the Apostles' Creed, and say that I believed in the creeds of the Christian church. But I didn't believe that Jesus was my Savior. I didn't believe that the Bible was the most sacred book, any more than any of the other sacred books of this world are sacred, written by wise and thoughtful people. And I didn't know what I thought of God. But despite all of that, I got confirmed anyway. I stood up there and said that I believed. And why did I do that? It wasn't because I wanted to. It wasn't because I had a change of heart. It wasn't because on the road to Damascus, the light shone down from God and told me that this was true. It was because I was afraid. I was afraid that if I refused, the church would reject me. I was afraid that if I said no, they would think I was insulting them. I was afraid if they knew what I really believed or didn't believe, that they would think I was bad. Now, I don't know if the pastors or the church would have really thought of those things. But I couldn't help thinking at the time that if the creeds were really optional, they really didn't matter more than me being there, why did they make us say them? Why did they make it an entrance exam for us to testify in front of everyone, to prove what we believed? Especially when the likelihood that many of us young people didn't understand or didn't believe what we were saying. Many religions of all sorts, of all kinds, play on the fears of young people like this. They suggest that a faith community's affection is contingent on them believing as they do. That a young person, whether they say it explicitly or just suggest it by making it a priority, a young person is only welcome so long as they conform. That they are worth something only so long as they believe what they are told. When those beliefs that the child has match the community, when they believe what the pastor says or their parents say, then it's fine. And it's great. And there are a lot of people across tradition that have that experience. But if it doesn't happen, like with me and like so many other young people in this world, it forces them into a choice. A choice between relationships and belonging on one hand, and on the other, the integrity of a child or a teenager's intuition and the integrity of their own sense of self. That is a wrong choice to put to a young person. When I was in high school, I didn't want to not believe. I wanted to believe. It would have made things so much easier. To believe that God exists and God has a plan for me and that it is simple would have been a great relief. I wanted that certainty, but I couldn't help that I didn't have it. I couldn't force myself to believe in God. That's not how religious belief works. It's about feeling and intuition. For kids and teens, that pressure to believe, that pressure to be something other than what they are deep down is frightening, and it undermines the confidence they can have in themselves. Because what they really need at that time is caring relationships they find in places like this. They need to have their beliefs respected and affirmed, that budding confidence they have in themselves. That is just beginning, because they're just beginning. They need people to tell them, you are okay just how you are. Not for some fake version of themselves that they put on to impress some pastor or a parent. Religion too often makes people choose. Either you believe and practice as we do, or this is not the place for you. Now, when we talk about what we teach here, this is primary. We will never force this choice on our children. Our young people will never be rejected. They will never be forced to choose between their church and their conscience. They will never be pressured to believe as their pastor does. They will never be required to cite a creed. Our requirement is authenticity, sincerity, effort. We simply ask that our kids and also our adults who are here wrestle with the real questions, to engage with those questions passionately, to commit to being who we all are and becoming who we need to be. That's what matters. Not skimping on the hard stuff, just trying to live our lives with meaning and purpose and realness. Our kids are going to have beliefs because we are a believing species. And of course, our kids are going to believe so many different things because people believe so many different things. How could they not come to us and say, I believe this, and it's not going to be the same as this? Why would we expect anything different? To believe that they would agree with us is to set them up for failure and rejection. There must be a place in this world where everyone, youth or adult, is free from that kind of judgment, free to be who we are, true to our deepest and realest selves, where we can sort out our feelings and our questions and our doubts and cultivate that best sense of ourselves, even if we don't really know what that is yet, but don't feel the pressure or the pincers of someone else's judgment or evaluation of what we are or what we might think. I used to work in religious education. Before I went to divinity school, I was the guy who told the stories to kids on Sundays. I did it at 3 congregations. And I've heard over the years so many Unitarian Universalist teenagers tell me that their church was the only place they could come and be themselves. It wasn't school. It wasn't home. It wasn't even with their friends outside of the walls of their church. It was here with us, where they weren't asked to be anything else than who they were. That's all most of us want, whether we are 5 years old or 15 or 50. So here is what we teach. We teach that life is fullest and brightest in happiness when we know who we are and we are unashamed to live our truth. We teach that religion should always be life-affirming and never life-suppressing. We teach that a life of humility and curiosity is more virtuous and true and sincere than a life of certainty and answers and posturing. We teach we must be critical thinkers and responsible feelers and lifelong learners. We believe that diversity must be celebrated, the diversity of human experience that is so vast and unknowable. We believe that knowledge is an antidote to hate, and that we must be united in our capacity to love and do justice despite all of that diversity. It's what we teach our kids, but we hopefully teach all of us. It's what Unitarian Universalism is about, not the implanting of beliefs, but the cultivation of a way of being in this world. The alternative is something dark and scary. It is exclusion, rejection, and shame that we give to our children and we internalize for ourselves. Because what we teach our children, we teach ourselves. And we tell ourselves, whether we do so consciously or otherwise, if we believe there's one right way to be, to believe, we are trapping ourselves as much as we are our children. Because it restricts our ability to grow and change and be that person that maybe we need to be in order to be happy and whole. Joseph Campbell has a lovely quote, the great mythologist. He writes, "We understand the greatest privilege of our lifetime, of a lifetime, is being and finding who we are. Living out that individual life that is truest and realest for each of us. Our job is to help our kids know who they are, know what they believe, and let them know that they are loved so deeply no matter what, that they are unafraid to come and be with us and be their fullest selves. Here we offer them community. We offer them wisdom, knowledge, and mentorship in our example, which is powerful. because we want them to be free to choose as we are free to choose. We want them to know love as we want to know love. We are a believing species, even our young people. So here, we believe in them, so they can believe in themselves. We believe in them no matter what their conscience, their heart, their mind, or where their soul leads. That is the great gift that this community can offer. Can offer our children who need that love, that need that assurance that we will not abandon them because their conscience or their integrity leads them in a new place. And we need it for ourselves because we will always change and grow, and we need to be free from the chains that bind our hearts and our souls towards wholeness. May we embrace this freedom. May we embrace this love that is not conditional, no matter who